All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I am Sacrabalic, your envoy of hope, and welcome back to Dialogue Tree, episode 11. We've almost hit 2 years of this talk show, and it has been on schedule every time. Can you believe that? How are you doing, Maid? What's going on with you? Let's see. Of course, as this is Dialogue Tree, we got a little booze going on. Diabolic Lovers just finished Haunted Dark Bridal. This series is terrible, but you can't help but love it. Are there multiple Diabolic Lovers? I was unaware. All right, so because this is, of course, a dialogue tree, we're going to make this a drinking stream. And I was like, I could do some vodka or something, or we could make some sort of cocktail. But honestly, I didn't really get time to pick anything up. So, what is there a reason why I have my webcam reversed? Oh, I remember why. Okay, anyway. It's so when I point to something, it mirrors me. Okay, so what we did is I got a hold of the Beast Unleashed. You can't really see that because it's green, and I realize that now. So you'll never know what I have. I got myself a The Beast Unleashed Monster Mean Green 6% alcohol, so it's not very alcoholic. And we got, what else did we get? We got the Beast Unleashed White Haze. Beast Unleashed White Haze. And we've got the Beast Unleashed Peach Perfect. These were the only ones that were in the store. So we got one of each. We're going to give it a shot. Just mix it up a little bit. Can't drink vodka every time. So what do we got? But don't worry, we've also got some 100 proof vodka just to really... We got to have a good drinking stream going on. Here we go. Got Bloodborne, planning to start Deadly Prem soon. Also work is making you miserable, but that's why you're distracting yourself. Hey, that's the point of distractions right there. I publicly played Bloodborne, so we all know my opinions on Bloodborne, which is, at least it's technically, on paper, better than Dark Souls 3, which has, over time, become my least favorite game of all time. By the way, if you're wondering, before I bought this, I looked it up, and just so you know, these hard monsters do not, in fact, contain caffeine. Because, I'm going to be honest, at a 6% alcohol per can, I was way more worried about the caffeine content than I was the alcohol. If I drink 3 fucking cans of Monster, I was going to be on my ass. So, let's try it out. Let's go. Huh. Huh. Okay, hold on. You know what this tastes like? This tastes like a regular Monster that's a little flat. Hey, Kaido, welcome. How are you doing? We're drinking hard Monsters. It tastes like a flat Monster. With a little malt, but you can like barely taste the malt. It's not bad. It's shockingly okay. You're doing good. That's good to hear. Good to hear. I have seen the Visceral Femininity Bloodborne video, actually. It's a pretty good video. Yo, with a Prime sub. Holy shit. Thank you so much, Kaido. Oh my god. Very much appreciated. Yeah, I've seen that Visceral Femininity video. It is pretty fucking good. let's talk updates. What have I been up to content-wise? Um, so we all know that there wasn't any special Sunday videos on the anime channel on March like I wanted to because I was working on that fucking Tenchi Muyo video. Thank God that Tenchi Muyo video is finally out. It dropped in April because I don't normally put anything much on April. We got to get that shit out. I wanted to do what I wanted to do next month. I'm going to tell you what I'm not doing and leave what I am doing a secret. What I wanted to do in May, when the Tenchi Muyo video was originally planned for a March release, was I wanted to start doing favorite search Monogatari. That's not fucking happening because I am a bit behind on my uploads because everyone I think knows that I upload videos in the future. So, yeah, so that's not happening. Instead, I'm doing a one-off series that only had one season for the favorite search. But Monogatari favorite search is certainly happening. It's just like, it's so involved. That's going to be a whole fucking project. Because I want to do a weekly release of that series. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry about that. Sec time travel stuff. I wanted to do a weekly release for all of the Monogatari series where I release the episodes in broadcast order. And then I wanted to do a compilation video where I release the entire thing, where I review all of the arcs in chronological order, is the idea. But unfortunately, for anyone that knows anything about the Monogatari timeline, the first anime to be released is Bakemonogatari, which is like fucking anime 6 in the timeline. It is a complete mess. Let's not forget, for people who are unfamiliar with how fucking bad the Monogatari timeline is, as far as like uploads go, in season 2, in Monogatari season 2, there are episodes of the show that occur in the middle of the season that chronologically take place after episodes at the end of the season. And that's true. That is 100% true. There is a character that gets introduced, I think, at the beginning of season 2, which is... oh, shit. Oh, shit, I should know this offhandedly. I fucking love her. She's one of my favorite anime characters. I'm just totally fucking Ogi. Ogi Yoshino gets introduced at the start of season 2 of Monogatari, and then you have to wait like 3 more anime series before you get the official chronological introduction of the character in Owari Monogatari during the mathematics arc. My local Barnes & Noble has had a box set of Monogatari novels for years. My local Barnes & Noble's fucking closed recently. So you're making me jelly, maid. I thought about picking up the Monogatari in novel form. The thing about Monogatari is that Nishio Oisin leans very heavily into the Japanese language when writing. Very much a prose-based linguistics writer. And so the problem is, if you're not, like people have said, if you're not reading Monogatari in Japanese, you are not experiencing the real Monogatari. So the thing that the anime does really well is it's really good at using visual metaphors to explain quirks in the writing style, but even that has its sort of limitations. Like, for example, Araragi doesn't generally describe people when he is the point of view character. And so whenever Araragi is on screen and he's the point of view in the anime, he's just wandering through voids where no one else is around. But when it changes perspectives, you get other people because they at least, fucking care. So the anime does a good job of doing the visual metaphors that helps come across. So I would almost argue that watching the anime might actually be a more true experience than reading the light novels, but I'm not 100% sure. The author of Taito Monogatari claims something similar, but supposedly that's just because he doesn't want it translated to English. There's a lot of puns is part of it with like Monogatari that just would not play well in English. Like they try, but so anyway. Nisio Oisin also wrote one of my favorite manga, which is Medaka Box, which I've talked about in length on how Medaka would beat the shit out of Goku. But anyway, yeah, so that's not happening. I want to do it in not May. What's 2 months from now? I want to do it in 2 months from now. But I'm not promising anything. I'm slowly July. I want to do it in July. We'll see if it comes up in July. Maybe we'll start in July. That's the hope. I'll try not to get invested in any big projects, but the Tenchi Muyo one threw me for a fucking loop. I severely underestimated the length of Tenchi Muyo, and it has set me back schedule-wise. So I'm playing a big catch-up game. I am about 2 weeks ahead, minus the Sunday video, which hasn't been made or edited because I haven't finished the anime yet. I have like 3 episodes left. So it'll get out on time. Everything will get out on time. But I really like to have at least a solid month buffer before I get into anything. And Monogatari is going to be a big fucking project. So we're just sort of throwing something out for favorite search. That was still a 9 out of 10. But anyway. We got the anime in English. Anyway, yeah, the Tenchi Muyo video, 2.5 hours. It is the longest edited content I've ever made. I would argue, maybe not true, because I've edited some of the podcasts before, but it is the longest fully edited one, so that's a big boy video. If you ever want to know too much about Tenchi Muyo, like a fucking anime that has not been relevant for 20 years, feel free to check out the Tenchi Muyo video. As far as streaming goes, it's a little bit hectic right now in the personal life, but we're starting to do it. My goal is to do it at least once a week. So we're actually making pretty good headway. We've been getting the KOTOR going. I'm probably only going to be able to get one stream going next week, but I would say that maybe the week after that, assuming nothing changes, might be able to get 2 or something. I want to get through KOTOR. I'm having a good time with KOTOR 2. The game's fun as hell, for sure. It's just starting to be like a time thing. Because we all know I like to stream more when I'm actually entertained. So I guess what I'm saying is hopefully Raidu Kuzunoha is a playable fucking game and my retention doesn't drop the fuck off the roof. The big thing I will have to say, as a bit of a tangent, is another reason that I feel like it is required to get rid of viewer recommendations is this is a thing that a lot of streamers do at the early parts of their career, and they all come to the same conclusion, which is they'll be like, sure, I'll take viewer recommendations. Let's see what we got. And then they'll play the games, and then no one shows up to them because viewers are absolutely dog shit at actually recommending streamable games. Because it's like, I want you to play this super obscure racing game from the 90s, and then you do it, and then even the person who because you're really putting all of your eggs in the basket that the person who made the request will show up to that specific event, which it's a lot of eggs in a basket for consistency that doesn't typically appear in most people's experiences. And then you're also assuming that whatever obscure bullshit gets picked as the game will somehow invest the rest of the audience, and it just doesn't play well. And it's something that a lot of streamers end up going through that I've heard from all the way from you mostly hear the big streamers bring this up because a lot of small streamers really don't stick with it long enough to learn the lesson. But the lesson basically is you can't do viewer requests. You want to do viewer requests? It sounds like a cool idea and a way to give back to the community. The practicality of it is it always goes to shit. 100% of the time. And my big issue is I never really care too much about retention, but holy shit, some of these games are just unplayable. You remember Mega Man? Fuck off with Mega Man. So we can't. So yeah, I mean, I took the points, even though points have been gotten away with on accident because I got my shit flagged by virus. They might still exist on a hard drive somewhere. If I re-downloaded the program, we might be able to get the points back. I'm not sure, but anyway, yeah. Even though points don't exist anymore, I don't think. Viewer requests have to stay away for sure. I do like the idea in season 2 though I had about like you vote for your franchise you want to see me stream next, and then we just play through the games in a line. Because I think that's a good way of like audience interaction, because these are and like actual functional things that I would be able to stream, because if I'm going to play the games anyway, voting for the order makes a lot of sense to me. So what do you mean Deadly Premonition isn't streamable? I learned about that game from a giant bomb and earth run. I learned about that from two best friends play. Okay, well, first off, thanks for the resub, Kaido, and you have a good night, a sweet dreams. Deadly Prem might be streamable, honestly. Have a good night. I'm not like opposed to doing a Deadly Prem, but then we get issues like fucking Mega Man Battle Network, and shit like that. Mega Man Battle Network is by no means a streamable game. That game was a complete fucking nightmare. And then you get to the point where it's like, I was like, John, what the fuck is up with Mega Man Battle Network? He's like, oh, I don't know, I never played it. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean you've never played it? So you get situations like that. So yeah, viewer request just is not viable, which is something that every streamer has learned at some point. Anyone who's ever tried to implement it has realized, oh, this is a terrible idea. Deadly Prem is a favorite Dreamcast game released in 2010. I actually own Deadly Premonition on Steam. Can I pull this up? I don't want to pull this up on screen. So I don't want to pull my Steam up. I don't want y'all seeing my Steam page, even though it's mostly just Xenoverse. Do I have Deadly? I misspelled the word deadly. I do own Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise. Okay, so I have, although a controller is required. Great job. Yeah, so I own both Deadly Premonitions. Actually, fun factoids. On my Steam. I have them both on there. So that's pretty fun. I wanted to watch like Twin Peaks at one point, but then they took it off Netflix, and I never got around to it. I was never going to anyway, because it takes a lot of effort to do that. But anyway, yeah, that's what's going on with the content, I think. We're doing some KOTOR 2 streams. It's pretty fun. We got a whole thing going on there. I don't think anything else is going on with that. Let's see. What else is happening? Grandma Sack update. Still playing Phoenix Wright. That's it, I would say. Have it on PS3. The front cover is blood splatter and it's so aggressive you can't even read the blurb that says that it's PS Move compatible. Also, it has a signature by Sweary. That's cool. Sweary, was working on an episodic game called Dead Dreams Don't Die, I think is what it was called. That looked fun as hell, and it only got like one episode because it just was not popular, which is, disappointing. But yeah, what else? Oh, that's it. I think that's it for content updates. I think we're going to move on to topic 1. How does Twin Peaks take effort to watch? I don't typically watch live action shows. And episodes of live action shows are like 40 minutes. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to watch a 40-minute anything. Yeah, that's it. Also, at this point, my anime channel keeps me so busy that I rarely watch anything that's not an anime. I just got to keep, you got to keep the train going. You just got to stock up on more and got to watch more anime. The only downside of the anime channel is that I can't stop watching anime or I run out of content. But yeah, let's see. All right, so I was thinking recently. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I was thinking recently about how like people who play games for a while in like social circles, they end up getting sort of like associated with games that's sort of like known as their niche. Like it's like, oh, I need someone to talk about this franchise. So you talk to that person, and that's their niche, and they got you covered. And as far as my niche goes, I was like, what's my niche? Megami Tensei. As far as my niche goes, though, I would say that what I would be most likely associated with would be Nep or Metal Gear Solid. And the issues I have with these associations is that in order for someone to associate me with Nep, someone would have to think about Nep more, like, at all. Someone, the thought of that Nep exists needs to enter someone's mind. And the problem with that is that that doesn't happen to anyone other than me. So that's not a great niche. And then for Metal Gear Solid, that's good. Everyone loves that. That does come up. People do talk about it. The problem is that Metal Gear Solid is basically a dead franchise at this point. So my two niches are obscure and dead. So I'm running out of niches, right? I need to get associated with something, which is why I think I put on the Discord, I was like, if you had to deliver a college lecture sized discourse about a specific video game franchise, what would you choose, right? That's to sort of like fill in your niche. And I was like, well, Metal Gear is becoming less relevant over time. No one gives a shit about Nep. So I need to pick a franchise that exists today that people would still viably talk about. And so I played Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War because my niche is going to be Fire Emblem. I'm the Fire Emblem person now. That's what I decided. Oh, shit. All right, this game came out in 1996. And is about a dude named Sigurd who has the reputation of being like the most bullshit overpowered Fire Emblem character or like protagonist. Like he can solo the whole route himself. And I would say that like Sigurd is certainly useful, but in my personal playthrough, I tried to keep at people with like thematically appropriate weapons, and my situation is I felt like Sigurd wasn't necessarily like he was good. He was a good character. I didn't necessarily feel he was like the run holder by himself. Now I heard that there is a special ending if you get, what was it, A rank in everything. So I got A rank in everything, which means I beat the game in under 500 turns, got over 500 level ups. I didn't have a single character die, just period. Did not have a single character die. Didn't lose a single castle the entire time. Awakening I liked my characters enough to force my way through, and Path of Radiance was so easy I had next to zero issues beating it. Yep. So, I'm glad you bring up Awakening, actually, because I do have a point about Awakening. But yeah, so I managed to beat this game with an A rank, and if you're wondering what the hardest part about that is, it was keeping my fucking characters alive. This game is hard. If everyone remembers, when I was talking about Fire Emblem Conquest, I mentioned that there were entire squads of enemies rocking silver weapons, and I was like, that's insane. That's insane that the game has that. That's fucking nothing. That's cute. There are enemies in this game where every member of the team, every enemy of your enemy team, has a brave weapon. What the fuck? Oh my god! Every enemy in the game has a brave weapon. There are entire squads of brave weapons. Holy shit, my dude. Holy shit. I dropped this game because it was way too hard. It is crazy. It is fun. There were, sometimes it was fine. Also, I got to every village before it was destroyed, so I saw every cutscene. Also, I could get the secret ending, which I did get. Also, I technically didn't get every scene because I made sure to pair off all of my characters. So I didn't get the substitute characters, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But so fun fact, when you get a secret ending for a game that you've never played before, that's only unlocked by playing the game perfectly and never having a single character die, you become unaware of what part of the ending is the secret part. And I can't find the clip on YouTube. So, pow. That happens, I guess. Anyway, let's briefly talk about pairings, because I think that's interesting. But let's also talk about Fire Emblem Awakening. So I've heard before that Fire Emblem Awakening's support system was stolen from Persona. But interesting fact, almost the exact same support system actually exists in Genealogy of the Holy War. It's called the love system in this, but it basically functions the same. You keep units in battles together, and you have them work together, and they gain affection points. And then if they gain enough affection points with each other, they end up having scenes where you see the characters interacting, and they end up having babies. Persona 3 stole it from Sakura Wars. Okay. Let's get into that for a second. But real quick, I've heard it specifically said it was stolen from Persona. So let's hold off from that for a moment. So the question becomes, right, what came first, Genealogy of the Holy War or Persona 3? And if you look at the release dates, you will actually find out that Genealogy of the Holy War not only predates Persona 3, but in fact predates the entire Persona franchise by about 3 months. In that both games came out in 1996. So there you go. I don't know when the Sakura Wars came out. Let's actually find out. Hold on. Maybe we have some new allegations getting levered. When was the first Sakura Wars? Sakura Wars was released in 1996. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up, coming in hot. Can we get a release date? September 27th. And Genealogy of the Holy War was released in May 14th. Meaning, yes, indeed, not only does Genealogy of the Holy War predate Persona 3, it predates the thing that Persona 3 stole it from, and both franchises. Yes! Now, obviously, later, like, post-Awakening supports clearly took some inspiration from the Persona franchise. I am not denying that. I think that would be ludicrous. But a claim you see get thrown around is that Fire Emblem wholesale stole the support system from Persona, which is clearly not true. Another interesting thing about Genealogy of the Holy War is you have the characters have kids. And from my knowledge, this is the first Fire Emblem to have the child unit system. I want to get into Sakura Wars at some point. That's a goal. The problem is those games are hard to find. Yeah, so you get two characters with a high enough affection point, a high enough love, which is a complicated and buggy system, by the way. I had to babysit it a lot more than you'd expect. And then they have kids. The problem is making a Saturn emulator work. Because here's the craziest thing. If I did not know going into this, this would have fucking blown my mind. But midway through this game, the main character and everyone you're basically playing as so far fucking dies. They just fucking die. And you end up playing as their kids. If I was a little kid, I was a little Japanese kid in 1996, and that scene had fucking happened, my fucking brain would have exploded. Because it is fucking wild. Like, the betrayal doesn't come out of nowhere, but the fact that everyone dies comes out of it. Like, the fact that it's like, okay, now you're playing as the kid who's, what was his name? Sigrid? Is it Sigrid? Leaf is also in this game, fun fact, and Leaf is the main character of Thracia 776, but I didn't play that. Second generation, Sylph. Sylph, there you go. Anyway, yeah, and the whole cast dies in the middle of the fucking game, and you end up playing as their kids. Would have blown my fucking mind if I was playing this in, like, 1996. I knew going into it that this is a thing, which is part of why the love system exists, is so that you can create new characters for Generation 2. And if you fail to pair characters off, then what ends up happening is that you get a replacement character. And they also have their own cutscenes and stuff. Although I also hear that they're just, like, objectively worse characters. So technically I haven't seen every scene in the game because I've never saw the replacement characters, but that's fine. That's not a big deal. Honestly, the story of this game is really interesting. But while playing it, I had to think of... It reminds me of the existence of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which of course is a mixture of Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem. And it reminds me of this because Shin Megami Tensei is a game series where you negotiate with demons and you summon demons in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. And then Fire Emblem 4, in the opening text crawl, contains the words, "Millions were killed and children were burned alive at the stake in droves," which is one of the fucking wildest hard opens I've ever seen to any game. It is so abysmally dark. And then, so you get a game about post-apocalypse and demon summoning, and a franchise entirely dedicated to the horrors of war, where every single Fire Emblem protagonist has committed terrible war crimes according to the Geneva Conventions. And then somehow the mixture of this concept between post-apocalyptic demon summoning and war crimes, the video game franchise, was Idol Singers. Oh, the existence of Tokyo Mirage Sessions just fucking tickles me pink. It's such a... It should have been, like, the darkest fucking video game ever made. Like, it should have been a fucking black metal album. Nope. Dragon Quest V, you, after your character becomes king, you and whoever picked as your bride had a pair of twins, and the villain comes and turns both of them. The stone statues are time safe. You play as twins, not exactly grown up, but you play as these two kids out there to unstone their parents. Interesting. That's really They use petrification a lot in Dragon Quest, because what's it like, Dragon Quest VII, where the entire kingdom gets petrified also? It's a weird petrification kink in Dragon Quest. So I'm not saying it's one of the devs' fetishes, but I am saying it's one of the devs' fetishes. Anyway, yeah, this is an old fucking game. It's a hard fucking game, by the way. Well, you, the protagonist, is silent, and you can gather a bit of character from optional dialogue with his kids, and shows how he's like 12 years went by in his kids' lives and missed all of it. It's fucking hard. I had to reload so many times. And this game has a really, like, things are predetermined based on your movement. So if you were to see someone play this game and you were to take the exact same movements as them, you would get the exact same outcome as them. So when it's reloading and you're trying to, like, shuffle the RNG, you have to, like, really put in effort on that RNG. Like, you have to make sure you are doing different things. I made random fucking suboptimal moves just to shuffle the RNG because I ended up in saves where my characters just fucking died. This game also might as well just be called Ambush the Game, because enemy units just spawn the shit out of places. Just boom! And then there's an entire fucking team on you. And oh my god, the fucking stat blocks on this shit is insane sometimes. I had an entire team at one point towards the end of the game moving through a cliffside, and then, like, these fucking wizards show up and they just wreck house. It is fucking nightmarish. This game is, like, really fucking hard. And honestly, I might have gotten through it if I wasn't trying to keep everyone alive, but I had to get that fucking A rank ending, so here we go. But yeah, so I made sure to pair off the characters. I did my research and tried to pair off the characters with who seemed the most canonical, based on Thracia 776 and, based on like other factors and based on who has the most support scenes with other characters. And so that was basically my goal here. I don't think any of the characters are necessarily stand out. Tokyo Mirage Sessions' existence can probably be blamed solely on Persona 4. I mean, I guess I could see it, but it's like what it doesn't. It's so wild. The game, the real product should be fucking awful. It should be so dark. Yeah, a major, like, especially with this game as part of, like, Fire Emblem. This is probably unquestionably the darkest Fire Emblem. Like, a major aspect of this game is what's known as the child hunts, where in Worship of the Dark God, they need to round up all of the children they can, and they just set them on fire as they're alive. And certain levels of this game have you, as an optional objective, you don't have to do this, you can, like, save and protect children who are, like, running along the map as they're being hunted down by the enemies. It's crazy considering the other games made by those directors are Strange Journey, Soul Hackers 2, which is radically different than TMS. I wouldn't say that either of those games are especially dark. I would argue Strange Journey is probably darker than Soul Hackers 2. Soul Hackers 2 is really not that dark. It's not like the brightest game I've ever played for sure, but like as far as like how dark it could be, like it's certainly not like a Soul Hackers or I don't know. What's the darkest Persona? Eternal Punishment? It's probably the darkest Persona. Probably Eternal Punishment is probably the darkest Persona. No, you know what? The darkest Persona is Persona 3. Maybe. Probably. It's either Eternal Punishment or 3, and I think I'm leaning towards 3, but I might only be leaning towards 3 on account of the fact that I don't remember 2 that well. So, you'd say Persona 3 too. Yeah, I'm sort of blanking on Eternal Punishment. That game is not super memorable to me. Persona 3 is probably the darkest Persona game, though, for sure. Like, it's darker than anything later, and it's certainly darker than 1 or Innocent Sin. Well, everything's darker than Innocent Sin. Innocent Sin is super lighthearted until that ending. Eternal Punishment is one of the most pointless sequels ever made. You're not wrong. Anyway, this game is super fucking bleak. Look, you got the child hunts, you got, like, parents killing their kids killing their parents killing their kids. The main character's wife gets fucking abducted and has her mind wiped and is forced to marry, like, one of the main villains who ends up being not super bad of a guy because their kid ends up becoming, like, the conduit for an evil god, and then he ends up betraying his son and, like, turning a face turn at the end of the game. Actually, I will say, to this game's credit, I think the playable characters in this aren't great, but this game has a surprising amount of depth and nuance in its villains. Like, the only villain I would say that is just pure evil is literally the god evil dragon reincarnated in mortal form. Like, he's the only, like, evil one, you know? If that game is doing Innocent Sin dungeons in a different order, a majority of the story is trying to figure out what happened in the last game, and it ends in an ending that didn't even wrap up the conflict. Don't they, like, banish Nyarlathotep at the end of that? Or is that also Innocent Sin? I'm convinced so many old heads like Eternal Punishment is because we didn't have Innocent Sin in 2000. Narratively, Innocent Sin is a fucking treat. That game, that's so fucking silly, that game. Anyway, yeah, surprising amount of nuance on the villains in this. Like, one of the main threats that you encounter as far as the villains in this game is, like, this girl whose, like, dad is a tyrant, and she's actually kind of like a sweetheart, but she ends up in a romantic plot with the evil godchild. who is usurping her dad, who was the former main villain in part one, but ends up having a change of heart on account of that his son is just too evil. Like, honestly, the villain characters in this are like really in depth and really well made. So there is a lot of things to appreciate about this. Or banish him more so meant like the other characters. Oh, okay, gotcha. One of the things I will say, one thing I will say about Eternal Punishment that I didn't like is like the characters in that game were actually like likable in Innocent Sin, and then in Eternal Punishment they made everyone an asshole for no reason. Also, Maya becomes a silent protagonist, which makes no fucking sense. That's one of the most annoying aspects of the game. Like, Maya, who is like a chatterbox at Innocent Sin, is like, hey, I'm just gonna shut up forever now. Zip. Fucking stupid. Fuck. You know what? You know what? I'm drunk enough. Literally had almost no alcohol. Fuck Eternal Punishment. It's my least favorite Persona on principle. Actually, I think it's just my least favorite Persona. What would its fucking competition be? 4? 4. Yeah, 4 is pretty bad actually. Never mind. Hold up. Would I rather play 4 or Eternal Punishment again? I almost think I would rather play 4 again, but that's almost purely because of gameplay and not story-wise. So I don't know. Yeah. 4 is a game I like to play, but it gets worse when I think about it. I didn't even like it playing it. Tetsuya talks, but he has the personality of a wet paper towel when he talks. If I had to replay another Persona, it would definitely be 3 or 5, like every time. Like if you were like, you play another Persona again, I'd go 3 or 5 every single time. So, depending on what I'm in the mood for, probably. But, Persona 1, 3, and 5 are the ones I play the most. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to like 4 so much, but I just didn't. I just didn't like it. And at the time, I was too afraid to be like, oh no, I'm not enjoying this. But like, then I was like, oh, I guess this is Persona. And then I played Persona 3, and I'm like, oh, there are good Persona games. I actually had a moment in stream where I was playing Persona 3, and I'm like, oh, good Persona games exist. Okay, okay. I was worried about that. But anyway, yeah. One thing I will say about this game is it is famous for having the largest maps in any Fire Emblem. And holy shit, the map size on this game is outrageous. Like, so most Fire Emblems have about 20 to 24 chapters. This game only has 13, one of which is the tutorial levels. And each map in this game is approximately the size of 2 normal-sized Fire Emblem maps. And it's not always to the benefit. Like, the idea of it is that the map size in this game is designed to show you what, like, long-term war campaigns feel like, especially considering it takes place over the course of several years. But there are admittedly like points in the game where the only thing I'm doing on that turn is moving units across this gigantic fuck you sized map. Like whole ass turns of every single character just moving along the map. And then sometimes you have to get characters to specific points in the map in order to trigger a scene or something. This is like big thing that happens at the end of the game. Because Julius, I believe, is the villain's name. Julius is like unfucking stoppable. Like apparently you can get him killed if you like charm one of his nearby enemies to use Hades on him to reduce him to 1 hit point, and then you can kill him without using Deirdre. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it the right way. So I had to drag Deirdre's like, you have to run away from Deirdre, who's standing in your way, run all the way to the tower, then run back, cure Deirdre, then run Deirdre all the way back to the capital, which is sitting in the middle of the walkable zone. This is the final map of the game. So the map size in this, there's just like so, and meanwhile, I was beginning to have issues with the fact that Julius has such an outrageous length on his attacks that I had to move my characters into the safety zone around Julius as he just spams death attacks with his like outrageous stat block. So yeah, the map size in this game is like out of control. But overall, is this my favorite Fire Emblem game? No, not even close. But surprisingly good. And I would definitely say, if you were to ask me, would I rather replay this or Birthright? It is for sure better than Birthright. Now, I don't know if that says anything about the quality of genealogy or just tells you how fucking bad Birthright is. But hey, at least it's better than Birthright. But yeah, no, it's a pretty solid game. It's like a very mid-tier game though. This is apparently a lot of like I was gonna say like old head Fire Emblems, but like in the English speaking community, they don't really have old head Fire Emblems, I would argue, because a lot of these are like based on translation patches that have like been slowly coming out. And that are in a way still works in progress. So I would say a lot of like more experienced Fire Emblem players would put this as like one of the least popular Fire Emblem games. And Thracia, which is its like midquel, which occurs in the middle, where you play as a character named Leaf, who you can also acquire in this route. Is like the top like fire, like if you're experienced Fire Emblemers, we'll put Thracia right at the top. But if you're asking why did I choose this one specifically, it is because there are basically like the closest franchise I can give you to like how this behaves is like the Tales of series, but I would argue that the Tales of series is, if anything, more obscure than Fire Emblem, so I'm not even sure if that's helpful to anyone. But like, so there's like a main timeline where most of the games occur in, but then there's also like different worlds that have their own set of like encapsulated like mini stories. No, I'm not hating on the Tales series. The Tales of series. I'm not hating on the Tales of series, but I am saying like sales wise, it's definitely under Fire Emblem. So my example of how does Fire Emblem's timeline works relies on knowledge of a game more obscure than Fire Emblem, I suppose. But I can't think of another game that functions like this. Like there's a set of games in the Fire Emblem franchise that all occur in the same world along the same timeline. But then there are other spin-off games that are also main series games that do not exist within the same world. And so I considered going to the GBA games and replaying some of those, or I was going to do Path of Radiance. I was going to do Path of Radiance. I was going to replay Path of Radiance. So I was either thinking like GBA or Path of Radiance. But then I was like, you know what? What if I go main timeline? And so there are two continents that exist in like the main timeline, which is Judregul, and what is the other one called? Judregul continent, and the Archnea continent. Thank you. Holy fucking shit. God damn it. Yeah, so the main continent that like most Fire Emblem games take place on is Arcania. And apparently Judregul, which is Jugdril, which is where Genealogy of the Holy War in Thracia 776 take place on, is on the same planet in a different location, but like in the distant past. So if you were to do a Fire Emblem timeline for like if you were to do a Fire Emblem timeline in chronological order, it would start with it would start with Genealogy of the Holy War, and then if you're trying to do true chronological order, in the middle of Genealogy of the Holy War, you have to play Thracia 776, and then jump back to Genealogy of the Holy War. But then it would go to Shadow Dragon and Blades of Light or whatever. But I would really... this might be a little controversial. I really am only intending to play the remakes. So I would go... After Thracia 776, it would be Shadow Dragon, then Shadows of Valentia. No, that's wrong. Shadow Dragon, then New Mystery of the Emblem. I'm looking at a list of every game. That's why I said Shadows of Valentia. Then Shadows of Valentia, which is a remake of the second game. And then after that, it would be, I think, Awakening, right? Yeah, that would be Awakening. And then on other universes that doesn't exist in the same universe. Oh, and then after Awakening, technically, it would be Fates, which does take place in a different world, but has characters from Awakening who get displaced by time, specifically the child units. It's weird, but like they're from like a different world, but then they get sent to the Fates world. So anyway, and then Binding Blade and Blazing Blade exist in the same universe. And I forget if Binding Blade or Blazing Blade comes first chronologically, because I get those games mixed up all the fucking time. And then Sacred Stones is its own universe, and then Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn are its own universe. And then I already said how Fates is connected, how it's a like different world, but it has characters. And then from the main timeline, and then Three Houses is its own timeline, and then Engage is also its own timeline, but there are rings that exist that contain the spirits of characters from all of the other universes, but it's not that actual character in a ring. It's like a sort of like shadowy impression of that character that's like a reflection of them that exists in ring form in the Engage timeline. So no matter how you fucking play Fire Emblem, if you're trying to do it in chronological order, Engage always goes last anyway, because it, excuse me, contains characters from every other Fire Emblem game. But anyway. SMT has that to a lesser extent with SMT 1 and 2. It's just every game after that is unconnected. The play half of RE3 first, then play RE2, then go back to RE3. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those games, yes. Anyway, yeah, so there you go. There's your Fire Emblem timeline. So I was like, should I play Path of Radiance? Should I play Sacred Stones? Should I get to the Blazing Blade, Binding Blade situation? And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just hit main timeline. Let's go, let's go Genealogy of the Holy War. And I would say that simply, that's all very interesting, well and good, but come on, tell me what the people want to hear. When do they come back as personas for idols? Like chronologically speaking, I don't know. I've never played Mirage Sessions. Fuck it. We got a couple seconds. Let's go look up Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I assume it's a similar situation to how Emblem Rings function, where what essentially happens is it's not the actual characters, it's reflections of them. But also, like, which Fire Emblem characters are in Tokyo Mirage Sessions? Hold on. Modern Day Tokyo, Tsubasa, Talent Agency, Hostile Mirage Tax, Idol Sphere. They're attacked by Chrom and Cadia. That's Awakening characters. Isk uses Performant and Mirages, prompting Chrom and Cadia to join them with help from Toma and Kyrie, partnered with mages Kane and Tharya. These are Awakening characters. They defeat Mirage's leader Itsuki and Tsubasa are enrolled to. Okay. Are they just all Awakening characters? Is 100% of them Awakening characters? Oh, no. Malevolent Mirage, Garneth. Okay, never mind. Both seeking to reawaken the Shadow Dragon Medius through a ceremony dubbed the Opera of Shadows, which will destroy the world's creative energy using dragon stones. Tiki. Okay, no, so they pulled from everyone. Revealing she has other failed to prevent summoning. They just, like, favored Awakening. I assume it was the hotness at the time. Mostly, but there are others. They learn that Garf and Medius were defeated in ancient times by Hero King Marth using the 5 gems dubbed the Fire Emblem. The group defeats Hada Kanaka and Garf did their sacrifice, Marth's soul, blah, 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 Mirage, blah, 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 blah. So, okay. I assume what happens is we know in the Archaea / Jugdral timelines that like essentially the world has alternate timelines where different actions were taken. So I'm assuming either the characters, the idols that appear in Mirage are probably reflections of the characters and not their actual physical forms, such as in Engage, or these are alternate timeline versions of them, which exist in like some of the DLCs and shit. So I'm willing to bet it's probably more of an alternate timeline or emblem-esque situation rather than it is like main timeline Marth showing up in modern day Tokyo. The game ends with you beating a dragon, the protagonist getting Marth colors, and they sing the Fire Emblem theme, and it dies. It's one of the most laughably stupid episodes ever seen. Delightful. I would almost feel like I should play that at some point, just for the funsies of it. Just be like, all right, now hold on. Let's take, theoretically, two of the darkest game franchises, just smash them together, see what comes out of it. So yeah, I'll say like timeline rise, probably emblems or time travel. I know that's the disappointing answer. I know everyone wants to hear that it's all canon, but it's probably not. It's peak mid 2010s otaku pandering bullshit. What I want to say, here's what I want to say. Tokyo Mirage Sessions 2. But they stay, it's not even self-aware like Akiba's Rope, but they stay true to the actual tone of both series. So it's a sequel, it follows it. And then Tokyo gets destroyed by demons. Tokyo gets destroyed by demons who summoned a dark dragon god by forming a cult and then burning all of the children in Tokyo alive. And then you have to like walk through like a scorched Tokyo that's like flooded with like demons, ruled over by a dark dragon god, where like, and you like walk through and there's like ashes and you have to walk over the ashes of the burned children and there's like bodies and charred corpses everywhere and people like up on sticks and shit. It's called Majin Tensei. Yes! There you go. That's what we need. It's just we gotta stick to the actual tone of the franchises. Anyway, is that genealogy the holy war? Yeah, it's a fine game. It's fine. It's. I was always told that this game was like bad. I wouldn't say it's bad. I think there's definitely some objectable stuff to it though. So. Megami Tensei starts off with the heroine being brutally raped and eaten while the protagonist just kind of watches. Okay, all right, there you go. Now we're getting there. We're getting to Fire Emblem SMT crossover we all deserve. This is the bleakest shit possible. Anyway, yeah, I think we're moving on. Oh, here's a fun fact. Your character, Sylph, can marry his sister in this game if you take advantage of the jealousy glitch. Didn't happen in my 3 playthrough, but I think that's fun. Atlas' first PC game went very hard. Apparently. Anyway, so I think we all talked about a lot of boobies in that game. I think we're all talked about grim, horror-filled apocalypses and dark subject matter. So let's move on to a more lighthearted experience called Poison Control, a game where you help traumatized women, some of whom are dead in literal hell, who exist in a hell of their own creation. Ba, 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 ba! Lighten the tone, baby. Let's talk about hell. So, little side tangent about Poison Control. Fun fact about this game is I saw a video about it. There's an RPG YouTuber, a JRPG YouTuber. He does a lot of JRPG videos. Mac here linked him at one point. Eric Landon RPG. There we go. He makes like a lot of top 10 videos. I don't agree with his opinions very often, but he does play a lot of fucking JRPGs. And so rather than use him for his opinion pieces, which is sort of like more what he does, he's a very good discovery vehicle for video games. One of the games he talked about was Poison Control, which was made by, I want to say NIS, who make the Disgaea series. One thing I will put out about this game, oh yeah, anyway, sorry, meta story outside of the actual game itself. So anyway, I had it on like an Amazon wishlist, and I saw that it was like going for pretty cheap. It was like he's an incredible brand YouTuber. Yeah, he's not the best at like making videos, and I don't necessarily, because he's also mentioned that he doesn't do any of the side quests in the game. He just goes straight through the main quest. So if he ever tells you how long it takes to play a game, you could throw that the fuck out. He said it took him like 50 hours to beat Persona 5, and I'm like, fucking how? Wild. Yeah, so, but he's a really good discovery vehicle, is the thing. Because he talks about a lot of different games. So you can watch him and be like, here's like top 10 games, and then you'll see it and you'll be like, that looks like crap, that looks like crap, that looks like crap. Ooh, piece of candy. And that's sort of like how I discovered Poison Control. So I had it on my Amazon wishlist, and the special edition of it was going for like relatively cheap, like $50. So I bought it off Amazon for like $50 for like the special edition, Contamination Edition. And then it arrived, and do you know what I got for the brand new Contamination Special Edition I got off Amazon? That's correct. They didn't say, it was supposed to come with an art book. It was supposed to come with a soundtrack sampler. It came in an envelope, and it was just the cart. This was the Switch version. It was just the cartridge. Just the individual little tiny cartridge in a fucking envelope. I was pissed off. I was like, this is so clearly not what I fucking ordered. So I sent that shit back. And then I was so fucking pissed off that I like bought a copy off of, I just sent it back. Oh, I did. Oh, I did. I never send anything back. I sent that the fuck back. I was like, I ordered a brand new copy of the special edition of this game, and you send me the cartridge in a fucking envelope? Woo! Woo, no, not happy. And then I had to pay the fucking shipping to send it fucking back. But whatever, I got my money back. So I was like so pissed off. I went on eBay and I bought like a different fucking copy of the game that was also brand new. And then I played it. And then I played Poison Control. So now we're talking about this. So basically, in this game, you can play as a boy or a girl. This image is clearly the male protagonist. I played as the girl protagonist, but I guess it like functionally doesn't matter or change the story in any way, because this is one of the character games where all of the characters are bisexual, like every character should be in every video game. Several times in anime, I bought brand new DVDs or games and shit. It's clearly not brand new. That's the first time I've really had that happen, but I was fucking livid. I was like, this is not what I ordered. So yeah, anyway, I got Poison Control. One thing I will want to say about Poison Control is that this game soundtrack goes so fucking hard. This is definitely going to be, when we do the award ceremony in January, for sure, almost, like, unless I only play games with absolute bangers from now on for the rest of the year, almost certainly a nomination. Would not shock me that this game gets a win. This soundtrack goes fucking hard. So good. And I don't normally comment on that. This is an over-the-shoulder third-person shooter game. And yeah, you end up in hell, and you meet this girl who calls herself Poisonette because she can't remember her actual name, and you never really get her actual name in the first place. No matter what ending you do. I did all 3 endings. I 100%ed this game. Not only did I 100% this game in that I did every quest line and got every ending, I 100%ed this game in that I maxed out every ability and maxed out my character's level. I 100%ed this game. But yeah, as far as like the shooting mechanics in like handheld Switch form, which I always play as, it doesn't feel great. It honestly doesn't. But like part of the mechanic is you go to these like poison pools, and you have to send her out of your body, and then you create circles. The game does not have a very good tutorial. I did not know about the circle thing until I was pretty far into the game. But you create circles, and then it clears up the poison, and then it like gives you bonuses, and then you shoot the enemies, bam, 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 and they have glowing weak points that are just like heart-shaped. But basically, you're in hell, and you're trying to get out of hell by acquiring 5 golden stickers, which you get a golden sticker by acquiring 5 silver stickers. And you are competing against your rivals, who are actually, like, relatively good girls who are, like, completely likable. The only Switch game I play in handheld is Diabolic Lovers, because I need headphones for that. To me, the Switch is a mobile console, and I've literally never played it on the TV. Then again, I try not to play things on my TV at all anymore, so... There you go, I guess. But yeah, it is a mobile console. Also, I think if it plays on TV, there's like a bit of a like I think it runs worse in TV form than it does in handheld form. Which, considering the game fucking chugs a lot, especially like more modern Switch games, I feel super justified in. Fun fact: Poison Control is the second Switch game that's ever fucking crashed on me. Previously, only the absolute terrible remake of Brilliant Pokemon Brilliant Diamond has crashed on me. We finally got a game that crashed on me, and it was after exploring a level for 2 hours, and the level only saves, you have to manually save in this game, and you can only manually save when you're not in a level. So I had to replay the fucking level. Woo! Woo, boy. Ooh, I was dissatisfied. If you can fucking imagine. But anyway, yeah, the characters in this are pretty likable, relatively simple. But you go to hells created by girls, and in this, the concept is like the hells are created by the girls' delusions. And it starts off with a girl who basically has become a bit of a pyromaniac, and she sets fire to things she doesn't like. And then there are like different girls in this game. Technically, there's 27 different levels, so there's 27, I think, different girls. But they are of various quality. Like one of the ones that gives you a bit more of a characterization on Poisonette as a character is a Russian girl who like was in a ship that sunk and then she died, and she's sort of like a nothing character. Her whole gimmick is she's just like an ice skater, and it lets you inform you a little bit more about Poisonette's character. But then there's like more heavy lines. Like there's one girl who was like obsessed with the color of her mother's rose garden. And so she is like trying to find the correct shade of red for her roses, but she like straight up can't get the same ones that she remembers from like her childhood. And then she eventually realizes that the best way to get the shade of red is to instead plant white roses and just straight up start murdering people. So she basically becomes this huge serial killer that like murders her mother in her rose garden so she can dye her roses. And then there's like one girl who had a relationship with a teacher, and she like formed a suicide pact with the teacher, but the teacher was like basically manipulating her, and then she just like killed herself, and then you like watch her like reputation degrade and stuff. So like the game actually delves into, and I'm just citing a few examples offhandedly, the game delves into some surprisingly dark topics. Like I was shocked at how dark this game actually got, and I know that like it's a game that's set in hell and shit, but for a game that like takes a much more comedic, lighthearted tone as it's going through, the places it gets to, it was actually quite surprising at points. Not the darkest game I've ever played, obviously, but surprising for the tone and very bright colored appearance of it. It's a very colorful game, a lot of pinks places and stuff like that. So yeah, shockingly surprising in that regard. But very mixed quality as far as some of the girls' hells go, for sure. And it actually felt like the girls at the beginning of the game were a lot stronger and a lot more developed, and as the game went on, it actually felt like we were getting weaker and weaker girls. To the one point where I would say that most of the girls I remember are probably only from the early parts of the level. While you're going through the levels, you of course acquire like gems, which unlock different abilities that you have to like pay money for. And the best way to get money is just to play later levels of the game where you get more money a pop. So anyway, yeah, Poison Control, surprisingly good game, surprisingly dark at points for a game that's usually pretty lighthearted. And I guess we never really found out too much about the girls in the radio tower who are like the radio hosts that tell you where your missions are going. But yeah, the game has like 3 endings, and the wildest thing I'm going to tell you about this ending is a little bit of a spoiler, which is you can acquire a device for like $100,000, and it lets you suck up poison spirits into the bottle. And so at one point, one of your characters who becomes a friend and helps you out when you're about to die, in order to save her life, you have to suck her up. into the bottle. And then in order to, once you defeat the main villain, who was basically manipulated into being the main villain, you have to suck her up into the poison bottle. Anyway, at the end of the game, you have a situation where Poisonette, who's been your partner this entire time, is about to go to heaven with the 5 golden stickers you've acquired. And as you're saying goodbye to her, in order to get what I would argue is the true ending of the game, while she's heading off into heaven into the big golden gates, you have to pull out the bottle and then suck her into the poison bottle. So the canon ending of the game is that you just suck everyone into the poison bottle, including your greatest ally, to prevent her from going to heaven, so that you can imprison all 3 of them inside of your body and use them to destroy hells, like the hells generated by girls, for all eternity. As a sort of 4-person, like a polygamous relationship. It's fucking wild. I was like, wait a minute, this is the canon end? And the other 2 endings are you go to hell, and then you go to heaven, but you can't ascend to heaven based on the plot. So you basically just end up depleted and imprisoned in hell forever. And then she comes back to you after she gets reincarnated, and she ends up coming back and working with you again. And then the other ending is that you end up both reincarnating basically, and then you end up implied to be dating and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, the fact that the canon ending is you imprison every female character you know inside of your body is fucking wild. No, 5. No, it's all 5 of you. Yeah, no. It's because you also get the girl in mourning imprisoned. So yeah, the canon ending of the game is you end up in a 5-person relationship by imprisoning all of your girlfriends inside of your body, so that you can fight hell monsters forever. I don't even know what to say about that. This monster's pretty good, but I need to wash it down with some vodka. It reminds me of the ending. Is that how Siren ends? The ending of Siren is you imprison all of your waifus in your body forever to forever fight hell monsters? Anyway, solid game. Is it better than Genealogy of the Holy War? Might be about the same, if I'm being honest. Better soundtrack, though. Fucking fantastic soundtrack. Anyway, we talked about the horrors of war. We talked about hell. Clearly, the next game we talk to has to be lighter in tone. We can't possibly talk about anything darker. Let's talk about Warhammer 40K's Necromunda Hired Gun. A game where you play a bounty hunter inside of a hive city, where the primary food source is corpses that are ground up into powder. I accidentally had a theme this stream, I guess. But he's stuck in a loop killing monsters for all eternity, and looks like the traitor for a hack and slash game. But my question to you is it framed as a good thing like it is in Poison Control? Excuse me. So the plot of this game is you get taken out, by a dude named The Shadow. Oh, it is? Okay, well then never mind. It's the same ending as Poison Control. Fuck it. You get taken out by a dude named The Shadow. And you end up with a implant in your head. And you're a bounty hunter that works with this dude named, I think, Cal Jericho, who is trying to hunt down this lady named the Silver Talon, who is basically a Spire noble who did a little fucky-wucky, and now her dad is trying to have her assassinated. Some of that was a spoiler, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. You could play this game, and you will forget the plot while playing this game. So that's the best you got. With loud-ass death battle, he's hacking all the monsters to shreds with the katana. All right, well, you know what? Sometimes you got to end a game. So yeah, you play as a bounty hunter that is essentially trying to track down the Silver Talon so you can get a 250,000 gelt. Is it gelt? I don't know what money system they use in Necromunda. Anyway, yeah, and this is a first person shooter game where you get a little dog with you. The plot line of this game is so fucking forgettable that I was forgetting it while playing it. I actively found myself tuning out, and to be honest, that was about the best I can get you for the plot of this game. I mean, there's probably a few more details I can fish in. Like, at one point, you go to, like, a gene stealer ship, but, like, honestly, who fucking cares? Oh my god. The story of this game is so goddamn boring. The best part about this game is the shooting aspect, and even that's not super entertaining. What I will say is you hit a very like wide variety of characters. Like you go to a gene stealer ship, and at some point you encounter some psychers and shit. But yeah, this is fucking not. This is not good. There's also like different types of gangs, and you encounter the different types of gangs. And this I feel like really expects you to know a lot about Necromunda as a setting, which I think has like some place in the tabletop. Like I think there's sort of like a mini game that's not like the full-on like battles they normally have in 40K, which is like a Necromunda setting. But yeah, like fucking, oh god, no, god, this is so fucking bad. Picture the most generic in 2007. American white guy on vacation in Japan fell in love with a Japanese woman who tried to escape from the town full of monsters. The end of Evangelion happens. Okay. Okay. And he stops it by becoming a character in an action game protagonist in a loop for all eternity to keep the monsters from setting. That's Siren. That is a badass ending, though. I think the game is right to portray him as a badass. That's cool as shit, actually. The dude sounds like my hero. One thing I will talk about is the voice acting in this game. I played the female character who's on screen here. Fucking terrible. Like, I don't know who did the voice on this, and I don't want to like personally call out the actress. Not that I think anyone did a good job in this game. But I personally think, especially the female protagonist of the game, is some of the worst voice acting I've ever heard in my life. It is like straight up 90s English dubbed hentai bad. That is how bad the voice acting is in this game. It is absolutely abysmal. That no attention was paid on the story. No attention was placed on the actual fucking voice acting. Aesthetically, it's okay. I guess it's what you would expect from a Warhammer 40K game. There is a lot of skulls in this, which I know is sort of the Imperium aesthetic, is to place skulls everywhere, but there is like an unnecessary amount of skulls for no reason. At first I was like, are these servitors? But then I realized the skulls are too large to be servitors, which means they just put skulls everywhere. Like, even if you look at the main character on screen right now, how many skulls are you seeing right now? I'm seeing at least 4 skulls? Why are there's a lot of skulls. Like, I get that, like, that's the Imperium's aesthetic. You could put a little less skulls on things. So it kind of gets boring to look at over time. I will say one thing, that it made Gene Stealers a hell of a lot scarier, because the fucking Gene Stealers are like, bah! And they're so fucking fast. They're so fucking fast. They come out of nowhere. They can sprint across the screen. Like, they'll be on the end of the hallway, like 500 meters away from you, and it'll look at you, and it'll go, bah! And then it's just on you. It is just so fucking quick. But yeah, as far as like the gameplay goes, it's fine. It has like a recharge ability. You have to like individually buy melee weapons, which is fucking dumb, and your melee weapons are on a recharge timer. And I want to remind you, this is a 40K game where everyone makes fun of the Tau for only shooting people with guns, and they have a timer for how often you can melee in this. It is wild. Just stick a knife in the character's hand, and then let the character knife people, like every other fucking first-person shooter game has done since like fucking 2000, if earlier. I wouldn't be shocked if you could find like shitty like Wolfenstein Doom games where you could fucking melee. Actually, I think you can, because I'm pretty sure there's a kick button in Duke Nukem. Fucking wild. Wild to have a fucking timer on melee attacks. Oh my god. Yeah, this game kind of sucks, like super fucking hard. But like what drove me up the wall, there's this like faction reputation system where when you do side quests, There is a kick button in Duke. See, thank you. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a kick button in Duke Nukem, which was like the 90s. Yeah, so like, why the fuck is Warhammer 40k a franchise famous for characters using melee attacks, even though it is strategically retarded of them to use melee attacks? Have a game where there's a timer on your melee attacks. It's fucking, it's so bad. It's so bad. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, you know what drove me up the wall the most in this game is actually the enemy placement in this game. Is they will just spawn the fuck out of nowhere. Like, and I know they're doing this because I have like, you turn on your auspex or whatever it's called. This game is has a timer on melee, and Modern Doom has swords. Shit's backwards. Yes. You know what? Exactly. You'll turn on auspex and you'll just see these little fuckers just pop into existence. Like, there will be no one around you at all, and then enemies will just show up. And I want you to imagine you're playing a first-person shooter. Where do you think the most annoying place the enemies can show up from is? You're correct. The behind you. Every single time. They just pop up behind you. They just whoop boom, whoop boom. They just spawn in all the fucking time. An endless tide of enemies. They pop up in front of you and behind you at the same time, and then you're just pincered over and over and over and over and over and over. It's the entire fucking game. It's so annoying. I'm more annoyed by the fact that the game just spawns in enemies randomly than I am about like any other shitty aspect of this game. But yeah, this sucks super hard. Like, it really does. It's like unwieldy bad. Anyway, yeah, I realized I was talking about the reputation system in this game. You do side quests and you get reputation points with different factions in Necromunda. There's a lot of factions. I don't even care about any of them, really. I decided I was really on board with the Gene Stealers and the Helos Chaos Cult. Because I thought it was hilarious. That I was supporting arguably the two evilest factions in the entire city. And yeah, when you max out your reputation, I was wondering, like, do I get a cool scene or anything? And no, they just like give you more items, because this is also a looter shooter, which everyone knows is one of my absolutely least favorite mechanics in any video game. So yeah, Necromunda Hired Gun. I wanted to like it, but fuck, it's bad. It's so bad. It's really bad. It's like really bad. I really wanted to like it. On the other hand, I wanted to. Everyone was like fucking sucking the dick of Space Marine 2 recently. I don't know if everyone remembers. The hype's died down a little bit, but everyone was sucking Space Marine 2's dick. So I was like, I decided to get into like some 40k games. And I thought like now was a pretty good opportunity. I'm still going to do Rogue Trader. I know I've been talking about doing Rogue Trader since last year, but I'm still waiting for the Lex Imperialis DLC to come out before I do a full Rogue Trader playthrough. And it's still fucking not out yet. So still waiting on that. But a little bit of a hint in for 2 months and now. I've dipped my toes into the original Space Marine 1, which I actually remember came out because I saw like ads for Space Marine on GameStop when I was much younger, when that game originally came out for like Xbox and shit. And I was like, Space Marine is a dumb generic title for a character. Zero idea what Warhammer 40k was at that time when I saw it. I just thought it was like a really dumb generic title for a character, and I didn't like the blocky Space Marine body aesthetic. I will tell you that the dumb body armor aesthetic of Space Marine sort of grows on you as you become more familiar with 40k. But I remember trying to go to GameStop, and there was a fucking line out the door all for Space Marine 2. And I hear Space Marine 2 is really good. I will say this, Space Marine 1, been playing it. We'll talk about it next stream, next time we do Dialogue Tree, on the anniversary. It's way better. It's so much better. It's a lot more enjoyable. You fight orcs in that game, which, fun fact, controversially, my least favorite faction in all of Warhammer probably are the orcs. I know everyone loves orcs. There's a famous saying, everybody loves orcs. I don't like orcs in Warhammer. So, dumb body armor Space Marine, the slick, well-designed Demonica of Space Marine. Demonica of Space Marine? Oh, from Strange Journey. I gotcha. Now, the Demonica looks pretty fucking stupid, to be fair. They're both really dumb armor sets. But anyway, yes. So far, Space Marine's pretty good. But anyway, Necromunda, fucking bad. It's just so fucking bad. It's so fun. Oh, and it ends exactly how you think it is, with your character getting betrayed. But, like, I'm going to blow the ending of this because it's really, really bad. Because your character's walking back after killing the Silver Talon, like, I'm going to get me my bounty. And then everyone's, like, backing away from you, and you think they're afraid. And then you look over at the, like, bounty board, and your face is plastered on it. And it's like, wanted, you. And then your character's like, what the fuck? And then the game just ends. And that's how the game ends. That's how the game ends. That is how the... Man, fuck this game. If you're wondering, I actually played the main character looking exactly like this. You get to actually choose what your character looks like, and I chose this appearance because the actual like cover art of it is like some dude with a beard, but this is the character that shows up when you like boot the game up. Like when I booted the game up, this was like what the character looked like in the opening scene. So I played this. So anyway, this outfit looks really dumb, by the way. The more I'm looking at it, the more I fucking hate it. Anyway, yeah, Necromunda, not good. The more I'm drinking this, the more this just tastes like a monster. Honestly, if this didn't cost so much, this would be a good monster alternative. Because it's basically the same flavor as a monster, but no caffeine. So I could drink this guilt-free. And again, like I've said, I'm more worried about the caffeine in a Monster than I am the 6% alcohol in this can. All right, we're done with video games. Yes, I realize our games went from the horrors of war to the horrors of hell to the horrors of a hive city in a galaxy that knows only the horrors of war. It's a bit of a theme this time. All right, let's kick us off with TV shows, with the only TV show I watched. I watched Invincible Season 3. Yes. Let's see. Invincible Season 3. What do I say about this? We have, of course, the conflict between Mark and Cecil. I don't believe this scene happens in the entire show because this implies that Mark has punched Cecil. And if Mark punches Cecil, Cecil will explode? Well, that was missing as SMT4. At some point, without any indication I'm going to do it, you will be getting probably SMT4 review. But that was not this time. Is SMT4 really dark? I actually don't know how it is tonally. Let's see. What happens in this one? This is a pretty big one as far as season goes. I think this was a lot more action-packed than... Season 2, and I liked it better than Season 2. I'm not sure if this lives up to the hype of Season 1, but Season 1 was so perfectly constructed around the Omni-Man mystery that I'm not expecting Invincible's ever going to necessarily hit those heights again, but this was a lot more watchable. I felt like Season 2 was like a real fucking slog to get through. And, standout part about this one, actually, my favorite episode, they have the guy who plays Jesse in Breaking Bad as, like, Powerplex in this one, which I understand the importance of this. I wasn't, like, super big into the Powerplex thing, but a lot of people are commenting on the amount of money they're having to pay these actors for voice acting, and there's kind of a good point that it's like maybe they should be focused less on hiring famous people for voice actors and just they should start hiring real voice actors. There's a segment where you explore a facility where they take children, raise them, and harvest their brains. Okay, all right, nice. They promise Neverland them. Okay, there you go. Yeah, that would have been tonally consistent. Maybe next time we'll get it even. Maybe I'll play only the darkest games I can think of, which would be, I don't fucking know, we'll go SMT4, we'll go Rape Play, sure, we'll go Maggot Bites. Now I'm just picking visual novels. This feels like cheating. We'll go... Hatred. Done. Good enough. Satisfied. We're not going to do that, because that sounds like a very bad time. It sounds like me playing games that I really don't want to in the first place. just to make a really dark episode. Anyway, yeah. What really got me, I would say, my favorite episode of this. I know a lot of people are gaga over the conquest fight. Really got me over this is I really liked the Invincible War episode. More specifically, I sort of enjoyed watching the other characters contend with the different variants of Invincible. And this is a weird moment to be my favorite, but my absolute favorite moment of the episode is when the other marks are all in a circle talking about how they've like destroyed a good portion of the planet, and and they're talking about like their motivations for why they've attacked this reality, and like one of them's like, yeah, I just want to kidnap this Mark's mom. And like my absolute favorite moment is when you see this like really somber looking Mark just say, I miss William. And I don't know what about that specific line, like it gets me so hard, but like the amount of emotion that the actor puts into it when he says that is really compelling. So I was really into the Invincible War arc. Obviously, it's pretty cool seeing his like conflict with Cecil. There's like this moment where like Oliver is like encountering these like gangsters that like formerly fought the Cinder Block man in season 1. I don't remember his name. Brickhouse. It wasn't Brickhouse. He shows up again, I think, in this season. And you're like, oh, these guys are dead, and then he just like pantses them, and I think that's a really nice touch. And then the conquest fight is cool and all. So yeah, all in all, I think season 3 of Invincible was a good step up over season 2. A lot of people are complaining about the animation. I didn't notice the animation was a problem in the first place. I think that there's been an influx of people, and I think it started with Demon Slayer. It's always been there. Like, there's always been Sakuga appreciators, but, like, I think it started with Demon Slayer, was people watch Demon Slayer, and they're like, look at all this animation. And I think it drew in a lot of fans to the like animation mediums like cartoons and anime, who only care about animation quality and are demanding higher and higher quality animation, and they don't really care about characters or narrative or story. And I think it is sort of degrading both mediums as time goes on. So again, I am blaming Demon Slayer on the worsening of the animation community in multiple countries. Do I have any evidence to support that everyone who complains about Invincible's animation are Demon Slayer fans? I don't. But it's sort of vibes based. I think Demon Slayer ruins everything. I don't even like hate Demon Slayer that much. I think I just have a problem with Demon Slayer fans. Demon Slayer is neither good nor bad enough to actually deserve like active hatred, I would probably say. But anyway, yeah, I've been noticing ever since Demon Slayer came out that there's more of a focus that people have towards how good an animation is. And like, fucking get your shit together. Anyway, Invincible season 3, pretty good. That was it. That was it for TV shows. That was the only TV show I watched. Let's move on to movies. I watched a singular movie. I watched The Menu. The Menu. This is a story, excuse me, about a bunch of restaurants goers who go to a island where a top chef is working as a restaurant. And turns out the entire thing is a murder-suicide plot where the chef and his staff plan to kill all of the guests and themselves. And it's got a bit of an artsy take, but there's also some like humor and character drama involved in this. And yeah, honestly, I would like to get into the details of this movie, and I feel like I should for my own purposes. But like, to be honest, it's been a while since I watched this, and I don't really want to spoil too much about it. And I'm realizing now that, like, functionally speaking, I don't actually have too much to say about this. It's sort of hard for me to vocalize what I actually appreciated about this movie. But I feel like I should try, if anything, to sharpen my skills. So I would say that I appreciated how this movie sort of unfolds as it goes on, where there's a slow build-up where the chef is explaining his grievances to the guests, and the main character turns out to be like a prostitute who's on a date with this guy. and who was a little bit of a spoiler, knew that this whole murder-suicide thing was going to happen the entire time. And there's this slow realization of like what is happening on this island as the staff goes full murder-suicide, and like the slow unveiling that like this guy knew what was happening, that is taking the main character on this date as we're going through. And there's this sort of like mounting of the tension as you try and almost sort of rooting for the main character to try and get herself out of this situation, where each level of the situation is, if anything, just another layer of the chef's plan. Honestly, for someone who was unable to articulate why I enjoyed the movie, I think I did a pretty solid job of articulating why I enjoyed the movie. Anyway, yeah, the menu's kind of cool. I also appreciate that the guests who are here for kind of being not great people aren't completely irredeemable monsters. Like the two like elderly couples, for example, who have issues with like the husband cheating and shit. And the wife being sort of like a bitch, even at the end, as the main character is sort of allowed to sort of leave the island, all the characters that you think would be against her give her like this nod, like, yeah, no, get out of here, you're good. And it's sort of like heartwarming, like the fact that the characters themselves, despite being here and theoretically being like bad people, have enough nuance to at least be like rooting for someone else and are not like self-involved. Is actually like really interesting. So yeah, the Menu is a pretty solid movie, and I would totally give it a thumbs up. Give it a watch. Watch The Menu, a movie where a woman eats a cheeseburger. Okay. We've moved on to the music portion of the podcast now, and we know we're on that Eminem train, so without further ado, let's talk about Music to Be Murdered By. Music to Be Murdered By was a fucking boring album, I believe. Hold on, let me go to my newly created Rate Your Music so I can remind myself. But I'm pretty sure that I thought this album was by and large boring as shit. By the way, I have a Rate Your Music now. You have no reason to find me on it, if I'm being totally honest, because all I do on Rate Your Music is I rate out rap albums. Well, yeah, 2.5 stars. Yeah. That means it was mediocre, I guess. I remember sort of like tuning out on this one a lot. I don't remember it being like especially good. I would get like more into the details. Eminem has been talking more recently about like a relationship he's had, but he isn't name dropping this person. And I'm not sure if this like disgruntled marital issues Eminem is having. And I could probably look this up to see if Eminem's been married to anyone else. But like the fact that Eminem won't shut up about Kim always makes me think about Kim whenever he like is talking about his marital issues and his relationship issues. And I don't even know if that's true anymore, but he did specifically state that he was going to stop talking about Kim. So the fact that like he isn't naming who this person is, like, you can keep your issues with someone secret if you don't want to publicize who you're specifically talking about. Just give them like a fake name or something. But like the fact that Eminem like is being like, you're a traitor and you cheated on me, is like, it always invokes this idea and this imagery of the person who he has been name dropping his entire fucking career. And yeah, so I felt like this album was pretty lackluster. And I wish I had more to talk to about this, but to be honest, I barely remember it, which I will say that considering one of the last Eminem albums we talked to, I was like, this is fucking terrible and hard to listen to. I guess saying that something was like not memorable is, if anything, probably beneficial, I suppose. So anyway, yeah, moving on from Music to Be Murdered By. Moving on from that, we have Eminem, Music to Be Murdered By, Side B. This is just the Side B songs. If we're talking just the Side B songs, I actually enjoyed this more. I would like to talk about individual things that this did better, but as always with Eminem albums, I feel like it's largely a forgettable set of songs. I just will say that, like, aesthetically, like, vibes wise, I did appreciate the songs a bit more. I really should look up music to be murdered by. I really should look up the, like, track list from both of these so I can cite songs a little bit better, because I'm sort of doing this off the top of my head and I don't think that's really useful. So talking about music to be murdered by, oh, there's Godzilla. That song's terrible. People have praised that song. That song is terrible. I think I remember in the first one, in music to be murdered by, yeah is not that bad. God, yeah, no, actually thumbing through music to be murdered by, what a fucking unmemorable goddamn album. Holy shit. Anyway, that brings us to, Music to be Murdered by side B, where I will say that I do remember specifically Alfred's theme being a pretty good song, for example. And then some of these are a little hit and miss. I remember Killer was pretty decent, I think. But yeah, this is like a solid 6 out of 10 album. It's like forgettable, but there are some like decent things in side B to be aware of. I would say that the most beneficial thing for Music to be Murdered by side B, outside of like a few good songs here or there, Eminem watched the MGM Best of Nora box set too, huh? I would say that the best thing coming from this is the fact that the next Eminem album, which is The Death of Slim Shady, is the last fucking Eminem album we're going to have to listen to. I'm going to have to listen to until he makes another goddamn album. So thank God my Eminem journey is almost fucking over, at which point I will be jumping into Chromacopia by Tyler before I think re-listening to Kanye. But thank God we're almost fucking over with fucking Eminem albums, because you ever want to, if you ever want to like think Eminem is the greatest artist, like a rapper of all time, listen to his singles. If you ever want to think that Eminem is entirely overrated, listen to his fucking albums. Holy shit. He's very Tupac in that regard, where, like, as a singles artist, he's fantastic, but as a fucking albums artist, oh my fucking God, make him stop. make him so much forgettable bullshit in these albums. And he doesn't shut up. He just does not shut up, is the problem. There's no reason to make a 70-minute album of just forgettable bullshit when you have, like, 5 good songs. Make an album of 5 good songs. Just take the good music songs you have and make that the album. What are you doing? Don't put a bunch of bullshit filler crap. And then the audacity he has in Music to be Murdered by, this one I think is the first one, the audacity to call out other album artists for filling their albums with useless fucking bullshit, when Eminem is like one of the only artists nowadays who are putting out like 70-minute albums. Like, motherfucker, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Just stop. Just cut shit out. He's becoming more Tupac as time goes on. Oh, Eminem is white Tupac. That's what I'm telling you. Shut the fuck up. I haven't heard them, but he has 2 greatest hit albums. I bet those albums fuck, is what I'm saying. I bet those albums fuck hard. Metal bands put out 70-minute albums, but I feel metal lends itself better to longer albums than rap. I wouldn't have an issue with a 70-minute album if, like, he had 70 minutes worth of content to talk about. But the problem with Eminem is he has this really juvenile sense of humor, and, like, sometimes he just makes fart sounds and poop jokes, and it's not worth listening to. And he's done that throughout his entire fucking career. Like, if the entire album he made was, like, fun bullshit, that would be cool. Oh, Music to be Murdered by Side B. This might have been Alfred's theme. He does a throwback to his rapping style. He actually does this throughout the course of the whole thing, where he does a throwback to like different rapping styles he's used throughout his career. And it might have been Alfred's stream. I could be mistaken. Alfred's theme was a pretty good song, but he at one point did a throwback to his like Relapse Refill albums, which everyone remembers is my favorite Eminem albums, despite there being the least favorite ones. I actually really enjoyed those because he didn't take himself seriously in that. Eminem is not good when he's like trying to be. Eminem is good when he is really serious, and he's good when he's being silly for the most part. But he's not good when he's half serious, which is the tone he chooses to take with most of his albums, unfortunately. So we're done. We finished the monster. Now we have another monster. This one right here is White Haze. Before this ends, I'll have to crack open the last one, just so we can have, like, just so I can review all of them. Ew, God, that got on my fingers. I have to go wash that. Hold on. Let's try a White Haze real quick. There's, like, a white monster. A low-calorie monster. Is it, like, ultra white? What is it? I think it's an ultra one. Zero ultra white. Monster Zero ultra white. This tastes like a Monster Zero ultra white, but, and this is weird, I've never experienced this before. It's got the malt flavor from the beer in this, and it adds an almost orangey, like literally like the fruit orange. It almost adds this orangey citrus flavor to it. Can I be honest? It's, oh my God, you know what this is? It's like eating a tangerine. It's like tangerine flavored. That's shockingly good. Monster, no one was like clamoring for you to make like monster beers, but they're pretty good. Anyway, I have to go rinse my fingers because I got a little bit of spray on them, and we all know how I feel about being sticky. I'll be right back. Don't miss me too much! Eminem, track 1, I'm so offensive, guys. Track 2, fuck Kim. Track 3, filler. Track 4, fuck Kim. Track 5, I'm so offensive, guys, and this is offensive filler. Track 6, silly. Track 7, I'm really sad. Fuck Kim. Track 8, I'm so very, very sad. Track 9, fuck Kim. Track 10, filler. Track 11, filler. Track 12, uber serious song. Yeah, like, so if you listen to Eminem singles, I'll say this. If you listen to, like Not Afraid, or, like, The Way I Am, or Mockingbird, you get, like, really, really good Eminem songs, right? But then, like, the problem is when you listen to an Eminem album, most songs aren't that. And I think part of the reason I'm making the Tupac comparison is you get a very similar situation when you do Tupac, where if you listen to, like a Dear Mama or Brenda's Got a Baby, fuck, you know what I'm saying? But then you listen to a Tupac album and you're like, Tupac, please shut up, please stop. Eminem's best album, greatest hits volume. I would totally believe that. I almost want to listen to the Eminem greatest hits album, if only to be like, hey, now that's a good Eminem album. I will remember though that a similar situation came up with Eminem, which was his Encore album. Was very similar, not in like scope or topic, to like the Kanye West Graduation album, where Graduation has so many hit songs off of it, and I think it's like Encore is the same situation with Eminem, has so many hit songs off of it that it feels like a greatest hits album. And I remember that the cohesion of the album is sort of impacted by almost like the popularity and acclaim of the songs themselves. They don't seem to connect well because it's like what it's like listening to a playlist in those examples more than it's like listening to an album, and that there's no real story to the album. You're just listening to a series of good songs in a row, and that was like true for both, like, I want to say Encore and Kanye West's Graduation. And I can only imagine like greatest hits album like Eminem would be like the same situation I experienced with those, where it's not listening to an album, it's I might as well just be a playlist. And in which case, rather than listening to a full greatest hits Eminem album, it's the 21st century. I can probably make my own Eminem greatest hits playlist that would probably be better and more preferable than an Eminem greatest hits album, you know? The Cure's greatest hits album is fucking hilarious. Is it just like the absolute worst songs they've ever made? Because that would be hilarious. I will say this. It is one of, if not Tyler the Creator's worst albums, which is the album Cherry Bomb. But in one of those songs, was it Death Camp? It was probably Death Camp. He says the line, called my album Cherry Bomb because greatest hits sounded boring. That line goes fucking hard. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Uh, Tyler's best album is, I haven't listened to Chromacopia, is probably Igor, but I would argue that Igor's not a rap album. I think I prefer Call Me If You Get Lost, but I would say his best album is probably Igor. They have their early days when they played punk, their goth era, their pop era. Then they went back to goth. So you have a mix of all these songs do not mesh well at all. Yeah, see, that's the sort of the problem. I've never really listened to a greatest hits album, but I'm assuming that's the issue you would get to with a greatest hits album, is you get these like songs that like sound good individually, but what the fuck am I listening to when you put them all together? And I can only imagine, and Eminem likes to like change up his style a lot too. So I imagine a greatest hits album and Eminem is also like the same fucking problem, where it's like where it just doesn't, it's not cohesive. So anyway, moving on to Never Stop Blowing Up. Yeah, so I resubscribed to Dropout. They announced that their Dropout prices were going to go up in May, and to subscribe now to lock in the current price. So I resubscribed to Dropout, and of course I've watched stuff like Game Changer and stuff. Game Changer's still great, but the only one I really want to talk to you about is Dimension 20. Now, have I restarted up Starstruck Odyssey? I have not. The only Dimension 20 I watched was Never Stop Blowing Up, because it was the one that looked the most interesting at the time. Will I go back to Starstruck Odyssey and then watch all of the other fucking Dimension 20 shit? Sure, probably. But we need to talk about Never Stop Blowing Up, which is the concept of it's a sort of like shorter campaign where Brennan runs, where the characters have their real selves that are reflected based on action characters they take on inside of a VHS videotape, where they live out their lives as action hero characters. And this is definitely one of the best live plays, or actual plays as they're starting to be called now that there's like an actual term for it, that I've ever seen. I wouldn't say this is S tier. This isn't Downfall or Balance, but this is a solid A tier playthrough. And this really goes to show that the thread line for getting a best like actual play going, as far as it goes, is you need to get the players on board with the theme of the campaign. And so the through line for Never Stop Blowing Up is that the issues that the characters have inside of the VHS tape when they're playing as action heroes is reflected into the struggles that they occur in their daily life. The most obvious of which is one character's like an old woman who can't use technology and needs to learn to accept other people's help. In the actual videotape, plays as like a hacker who, because they get sucked into the videotape and then they take over the bodies of action heroes. Like a loner hacker character. And so, yeah, that's the most like on the nose one, but it basically happens for all the other characters. And yeah, so the through line, if you want a really good actual play, is apparently make sure that all of the players are on board the concept, which is honestly, if we're being real with ourselves, a really good tip for just how to run a D&D game or any like tabletop role playing game in the first place is get your session zero, get your characters on board, really let them know where they're going with the story. But as far as like cohesive narratives go from an audience standpoint, I will say that what makes for good table play when you're actually playing with like a group of friends and stuff is not the necessarily probably the same thing that plays well narratively when you're watching as an audience member. But Never Stop Blowing Up looks really fun, and they created their own gaming system for this. And it's like relatively simple. And this is one of those instances where I've watched a playthrough of a game and I'm like, I want to play this. So, excuse me. Yeah, I want to play this sort of. I want to get the rules of Never Stop Blowing Up, and I want to run a Never Stop Blowing Up game myself. I'm not going to run it in like the same universe or anything, but I like the idea of characters sort of embodying action heroes, and the fact that like as you go through, your dice system evolves over. So yeah, I might get my hands on this system and play it because it seems like really fun. And as far as like the player characters themselves, when we come to this game. What basically happens is that it seems like the players took inspiration from like real life action hero characters. Like one of them is like basically a Kingpin from Marvel, and who I wouldn't argue is an action character, but it plays well in narrative. And the other one is like one of the other ones is like basically just like Dom from Fast and the Furious. It's fucking hilarious. It's fun. It's a treat. It's a definitely an A tier actual play. Again, it's not balance or downfall, but what is balance or downfall. So yeah, Never Stop Blowing Up. Really fucking good. Looks like a fun system. Definitely going to give it a try myself. Watch it if you have a Dropout subscription, I guess. Which you have to, I assume, pay the expanded price now. So, haha, fucking loser! Yeah. All right, moving on. With that, we're coming to our final segment of the show. We are coming to Anime Dartboard, which is an anime book club where we select an anime randomly off of my plan to watch list to a maximum of 350 minutes with an English dub, because it's very approachable and pretty easy to watch a 13 episode show in essentially 2 months. If you can't watch a 13 episode anime in 2 months with an English dub, I don't know what to tell you. You're not watching this. You're not watching this talk show that we're having for sure if you don't have that amount of time. So anyway, all right. We of course are kicking into Hana Yamata. Now, all right. What did everyone think of Hana Yamata? Because you all totally watched Hana Yamata, right? We all agreed to watch Hana Yamata. You definitely watched Hana Yamata. Which, an anime I think we described. One thing I want to address about Hana Yamata is we described this as like K-On! Last time. It was like K-On! That we have at home. And I think now that we have all seen Hana Yamata, we can all agree this is fucking nothing like K-On! This was nothing like K-On! This had almost nothing in common. The only thing this had in common with K-On! Was that there were cute girls in it. This wasn't K-On! In the fucking slightest. I think it was just the description that was on the Mal page that made us think K-On! Because yeah, if anything, this is very similar to a sort of Love Live. Which we all, of course, watched because we all remember the Love Live episode of Dartboard, so you definitely watched Love Live also. Or like a general sports anime. This was very sports anime vibed, with no narrative tension whatsoever for most of the show, right? I would like they enter a competition and then they lose really bad, and it like kind of just doesn't matter. So it's a very it like has sports anime vibe and sports anime structure, but at the end of the day, it's almost just like cute girls doing cute things, like distilled into its purest formula. Like there's very little impact of most of this. Um, I would say that like what fucking got me at the end was I was not expecting the blonde girl to leave. That was fucking wild when the mom shows up and gets back together with her dad, and then ends up like taking her back to America. That I didn't see coming, right? Because she was like the whole catalyst for the plot, where like the main girl like sees her dancing at the beginning to sort of like get her out of her like comfort zone. There also like that was like a real surprise. And I do think it was a pretty impactful moment at the end when she manages to come back at the end. So I think that was pretty cool. The main character who's like stuck in her ways and like really like stuck in her sort of rut, and you know they mention at the beginning that she's like quitting shit all the time. Um, I think it's really interesting that they keep flashing to this sort of like cheerleading mess up of hers. So I wish they would have elaborated more on presumably something she'd committed to before, which is cheerleading. And I'd have liked more interaction with that, maybe other characters outside mentioning this. Because like they did the cheerleading flashbacks, but we didn't really get an exploration of the cheerleading. So I wish we got more about the main character's history with cheerleading. But other than that, yeah, it really it was a solid show. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. The opening's a banger. Can we talk about the opening being a banger? The opening is a fucking banger of this. But yeah, otherwise it was very. Oh yeah, what did we think? What did you think, audience who definitely watched Hana Yamada because you were supposed to watch Hana Yamada? What did you think about the subplot about the girl and her dad? To me, that subplot felt like it like ran through a little too quickly. It was like, I have issues with my dad, and I always do what my dad wants. And then she's like, Dad, we need to talk. And then she just joins the club the next time, and it's just like all is. And also, like, her dad is pretty neglectful, right? But so she's always doing what he wants, but then like it feels like there was no conflict because it sort of gets resolved immediately. I almost thought there was an implication that she was doing all of the shit against his wishes, but we don't really get a hint of that throughout the rest of the course of the show. So it feels like that whole plot line was like set up and then sort of, I don't want to say dropped, but I want to use dropped as a metaphor. Like, it feels like a baby that the show was sort of like cradling, and then it just like takes the baby as cradling, and the whole plot line is just like throws it on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really did feel like they just sort of like let it go with a whimper, kind of. Am I wrong in that? I don't know. Anyway, I enjoyed the show for sure. I think, what did I give it? I gave it like a 6 or a 7 or something like that. So I think it was an enjoyable enough show. I think there were definitely things to like. Absolutely nothing like fucking K-On! But it was sort of, it had its flaws for sure. It had its ups, it had its downs, it had its surprises. So, Hana Yamata, that's what I thought about it. What did you all think about it? Because everyone, of course, totally watched Hana Yamada because you were supposed to watch Hana Yamada. What did you all think about Hana Yamada? What? Fucking crazy. No, I disagree completely on that point. Fascinating discussion. Glad everyone's participating in Anime Dartboard. You all rock. Okay. Well, moving on to the most disappointing part about my emote wall add-on is the fact that it doesn't portray the fact that that emote is moving. Okay, moving on to... Where are we? Here we go. Shuffle. 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 Jubi-chan, lovely Gantai no Himitsu. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? This came out in 1999. Jubei-chan. Is this what I don't know. Jubei-chan, the ninja girl, secret of the lovely eye patch. What the fuck is this? Jiyu Nonohana is an ordinary schoolgirl until she runs across a scatterbrained 300-year-old samurai who tells her that she's the reincarnation of Yagyo Jubei. With the help of the lovely eye patch, she transforms into the legendary swordsman whenever she needs to use his awesome fighting ability, which she needs to do quite often as the rival clan is dead set on conquering Yagyo's safety to satisfy an old family grudge. What the fuck is this? What is this and why did I add it? Why was this on my play to watch list? Action adventure comedy drama. It's 24-minute episodes. 13 episodes. Yeah, I guess you're on your own on finding it. This is a bizarre spin-off of Ninja Scroll, is it? It was made by Madhouse. What the fuck is that? This is directed by Akitoru Daichi, who made he directed the original Fruits Basket. He directed that one thing with the sexy Wolfman, right? Yeah, he directed Sexy Wolfman. I think I've heard of Bokura ga Ita. We were there. I think I've heard of this for some reason. He directed Blue Gender. He directed Kodomo no Mocho. He did a lot of director of photography stuff. Oh, he was the creator of whatever the fuck this is. He was the creator of Carried by the Wind, Tsukikage Ran, which I've never heard of in my life. So, famous story right there. He did some Kaleidostar EDs. He directed a Conan movie. Oh, he directed They Were 11. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, finally, something everyone knows about. He did Rinshi Ikoto-chan, which I did a review of, so of course everyone knows about that because everyone's seen 100% of my videos. He directed Animation Runner Kuromi, which I've seen around every now and again. He excuse me. I guess he was the director of photography on Guyver. He does a lot of director of photography stuff. I'm getting the burps for some reason. Pardon me. He directed Sexy Commando Gaiden, which I've never heard of, but I feel like I need to point out on account of the fact that it's called Sexy Commando Gaiden. What the fuck? Yeah, he has not done a lot of note, actually, if I'm being real. It looks like in 1991 he won the Best Individual Achievement Award at the 4th Animation Kobe, probably for his director of photography roles rather than that. You've seen that? I mean, tell us about it. How is it, I guess? Whoops. Okay, yeah. Jubi-chan, the ninja girl, secret of the lovely eye patch. You're saying this is a spinoff of Ninja Scroll. Are we sure it's a spinoff of Ninja Scroll? What's the association with Ninja Scroll? Jubi Yagyo? Yeah, he only shows up in this. That's what I was told. Yeah, I don't think this has any association with Ninja Scroll. It was made by Madhouse. Did Madhouse also make Ninja Scroll? Who made Ninja Scroll? Oh, also Madhouse. Okay. I mean, there might be some association with Ninjas. Maybe there was like a cameo or something, but I don't think this was a full-on spin-off. Because, I mean, you know what? You know what? This is Anime Dartboard. And in Anime Dartboard, everyone is supposed to watch the anime. So you have 2 months to watch this anime, of course, which everyone knows everyone does, and not just me. Everyone knows everyone watches this. To watch this, and we'll find out. We will find out in 2 months, by 2 months, whether this is in fact a Ninja Scroll spinoff or not. But yeah, I don't. I have no idea why I wanted to watch this. The only reason I can imagine that this would have come up for me at all is if I saw a clip of it on YouTube at one point, and I was like, this seems like a watchable show, because I feel like reading this description, I have never heard of this anime. I've never seen anything about this anime. I don't know anything about this anime. If this was not on my list of anime to watch, and it clearly is, I would assume that I have never heard of this in my entire life. So I guess here we go. We're going to check out Jubi-chan. Let's see how it fucking goes, I guess. And I guess that's the end of Anime Dartboard. So thanks for stopping by on that. So before we end the stream, one other thing I'm going to do is I have a whole ass other beer here. So I'm going to crack this little fucker open. We're just going to see what Peach Perfect tastes like. Just so we can do it live on stream. And then I'll drink the rest of it off stream. That's not bad. That's not bad. I've been drinking a Monster lately called a Papillion. It tastes kind of like a Papillion. It's a very, like, soft, mild, sweet flavor to it. I guess it's vaguely peach flavored, but it doesn't really taste peach to me. You know, it's almost like... Yeah, it's very soft and mild. It's a very soft, mild sweetness. It's good. I like it. Surprisingly, I was expecting, like, unlike the Arizona tea ones, I was expecting these, like, hard monsters to, like, suck ass. Shockingly good, if you can believe that. What do the cans say? Let's read the cans. Where are the can section? Our original crew has been making drinks for 30 plus years now. Our favorite brand, Monster Energy, is about to turn 21. We figured why not celebrate the big day by making an adult beverage. We hit delete on the energy blend and cut out the caffeine. Apparently, I didn't need to look up on the internet if this had caffeine or not. I could have just fucking read the can. All right, you know what? Go on your Arizona hard tea story while I read these 3 cans of hard Monster. Next, we brewed up the smoothest tasting alcohol ever and blended it with our tried and true flavors. Honestly, they're not fucking wrong. It really is. It's really smooth. The Beast Unleashed, great taste, 6.0% alcohol and a smooth flavor that won't weigh you down. Get ready to celebrate and don't be afraid of the big bad beast. Cheers. Feast on the Beast at monsterbrewing.com. It is, as far as like the alcohol goes, like you can taste a little bit of the malt, but like the weirdest part, this is like the best malt beverage I've ever had, is because you can taste the malt, but it's additive. Like it adds to the flavor. This is the first time I've ever enjoyed malt. The white one says the same thing. It's the same thing. I'm not even going to read it out loud. The peach one says the same thing. Okay, well. So it's just the same. I'm not even gonna bother. It just says the same thing. I read it. It's fine. I was trying to buy a bunch of stuff. The 2 things to note on Arizona tea and an R-rated DVD. I didn't know what I grabbed was hard Arizona tea and not a fucking normal one. Did they not card you? I didn't think twice when I got carded because I bought that DVD. Oh, did they card you for R-rated DVDs? I don't think I've never been carded for an R-rated DVD. I've been carded for alcohol. I got carded for this, but I've never been carded for an R-rated DVD. I don't know if I've ever bought an R-rated DVD. The only R-rated DVD I would own is Underdog. No, Dodgeball's a PG-13 movie. And then Anchorman is also PG-13. I don't think I own an R-rated film. Huh. I come home and I'm watching a stream, drinking my tea, and I got really fucked up, like really badly. Arizona tea is really light. I drank like 3 of them last stream. Oh yeah, you're like a huge lightweight though. I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't. You've brought to my attention that I don't think I own a single R-rated film because the Pirates movies. I own the Pirates movies. I'm assuming they're PG-13. I own the Harry Potter films. I'm assuming those are PG-13. Dodgeball's apparently PG-13. Anchorman is like not rated, but it was also a dollar store I bought it at. Excuse me. The Legend of Ron Burgundy. No, that was also PG-13. Oh my god, I don't own a rated. I don't own a rated R movie. Hold on. Do they normally card for rated R movies? Do they have to legally? Theaters card everyone. I understand that. Do they card for rated R movie DVD though? Is that a normal thing? Is that a normal thing where you are made? Some stores may card you while others may not. I don't know, but I get carded for them in M-rated games all the time. Oh, okay, interesting. I've never been carded. I will say this. I've never been carded for a rated R movie because, as we've just realized live on stream, I don't own a rated R movie. And I've never been carded for an M-rated game. But to be fair, when I started buying M-rated games, I actually started buying them like when I was old enough to buy M-rated games, when I was like over 17, I pretty much stopped buying physical copies in person by and large. So that's probably why they never carded me. So this is actually interesting. You have this like experience as someone who primarily buys physical media that I've never experienced because I've just like threaded the needle on that. Here's a fun fact, I also actually look younger than I actually am. So not like I don't look 16. That would be the dream. But I actually am, I do look younger than I actually am. I get told that like relatively often. So people often say I look like mid-20s, which I'm like, oh, thank you. But I mostly blame the fact, damn, Sack old enough to be your dad. No. Well, yes, but I would have had to have made very, very bad life choices. I'd have fucked up if I was your dad. But yeah, I get told I look like mid to late 20s a lot. And I'm like, I'll take the fucking compliment. Fuck, shit. That's one of the things you learn when you get older is that when people are like, you look this age, and it's younger than your actual age, you're like, thank you. Like when you're a kid and someone's like, you look younger than you are, you're like, no, I'm not. I'm this old. But when you're like an adult and someone's like, you look younger than you are, you're like, oh. 23-year-old daughter ever made poor life decision. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. You're 23? No. No. Well, no. No. No, 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 no. No, unfortunately, you're slightly. I am old enough to have Kaito as a kid. I am not old enough to have you if I made really poor life decisions. I'm not old enough to have you as a kid, I suppose, actually. Like 21, I think. Um, time passes really quick, is what we're learning. Time's gone like that. Fun fact, actually, time does pass faster the older you are because your memories compound as you get older. So the portion of time that, like a year, for example, now, a year is a solidly arbitrary amount of time in the first place, just based on like sun rotate, like Earth revolving around the sun. But it's not like cohesive, like and applicable to how the human body functions necessarily. But it's working in the framework of like an arbitrary amount of time, such as like how much a year is specifically. A year takes up less time the more years you experience. So, for example, if you're a 1 year old, a year takes up 100% of your life because that's how old you are. But when you're like 20, for example, a year is only 1/20th of your life. And then when you're 100, a year is 1% of your life. And this is true. The older you get, the faster time goes on because it is a comparison of the amount of time you have experienced versus the amount of time you are experiencing. And so time never stops accelerating as you get older. Uh, my brother once asked me if stopping the Earth's rotation would stop aging, and I just said, I don't know. I'm going to assume no. I will tell you right now, not only would it not stop aging, but if you could like freeze the Earth in place, it would be absolutely catastrophic and a definite apocalypse. Because, fun fact, Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, is that an object in motion will remain in motion and an object at rest will remain at rest unless interfered with by an outside force. So if the Earth is rotating at, I believe, 20,000 miles per hour, if you were to stop the Earth suddenly, every object on the surface of the Earth would continue moving in the direction of the rotation at 20,000 miles per hour. And I don't think I need to tell you what would happen if you are flung at 20,000 miles per hour into literally fucking anything. That borders on escape velocity for some things. Actually, I don't think it's quite escape velocity at ocean level, which is, what is it, 25,000 miles per hour? Something like that. So I don't think anything would get flung off into space, but you'd be fucking dead. Boom! And then the entire surface of the Earth would be like ripped apart. So I would like to change my answer. Actually, yes. In a certain manner of speaking, stopping the Earth's rotation would, in fact, stop aging. In that you would be definitely, for sure, dead. You wouldn't be getting any older because you'd die. Because you'd slam into a building at 20,000 miles per hour. There you go. Have fun with that information. Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Anyway, as you get older, your perception of time actually changes. That is part of the reason why insects are so good at dodging things. Like if you have a fly swatter and you swing at an insect and it dodges, keep in mind that, like, for example, the common housefly survives for about 2 weeks. That's its entire lifespan. So if you keep into mind that the longer you experience time, the less the amount of time you're experiencing is worth to you and the faster time speeds up, then you scale that down to a 2-week time period. And the time it takes for your hand to wind back and hit that fucking fly in the middle air is like, it is like 10% of that fly's lifetime. That fly had years to be like, oh shit, that hand's coming towards me. Better move the fuck out of the way now. Like that fly, from its own perspective, realistically, I said years, but it's like a day, right? From that fly's perspective, like if you live for 2 weeks, that means you live for 14 days. The time your hand takes is probably not days, hours. It had hours to dodge you, is the thing. So don't feel bad for like insects evading your attacks. They have fucking forever. Even like cockroaches, which don't exist in your fucking state, apparently, made, as you've once told me. Even like cockroaches live for about 2 years. That's like toddler level. Like, they've got from their perspective, they have like a billion years. Also, like flies specifically have eyes. They have compound eyes all over their fucking head, giving them like stupidly good peripheral vision. So no matter what angle you're coming at with that fucking fly, it can see you, and it has like literal days from its own perspective to get the fuck out of the way of your hand. So don't feel bad if you ever miss an insect, because it knew you were it had more than enough time to process that you were trying to fucking hit it. It was like, look at this little fucker. Alexa, play 20 Eyes by the Misfits. Alexa, play 20 Eyes by the Misfits. Hopefully someone watched the stream and that pissed them off. There you go. Have fun with that. But yeah, so insect killing is a fun factoid. Do we have anything to talk about? Oh, yeah. So this is the outro. I didn't even start talking about content that's coming. I already talked about how I want to do in, like, July the Monogatari stuff. I should make it in time because I'm only, like, 3 episodes away. So it shouldn't be that hard. So you should be getting a favorite search at some point next week, next Sunday. Next Sunday, I think. You should be getting a favorite search episode next Sunday, and no, not next Sunday. 2 Sundays from now, right? 2 Sundays from now. 2 Sundays from now, you'll be getting a favorite search episode. Looking forward to that. Still working on the anime channel. Still trying to get a KOTOR in. I would say, and I'm probably not doing KOTOR tomorrow because I'm doing this instead. Might aim for Thursday. KOTOR. But you're only getting 1 next week, so look forward to that. And as far as other content goes, I don't know. I would like to do 2 in the following week, but I know next week is going to be hectic as shit for me. That's the only reason I don't want to overpromise. But anyway, other than that, watch. What the fuck are you supposed to watch? I forgot. Watch Jubi-chan Ninja Girl Secret of the Lovely Eye Patch. Watch that. And then, other than that, thanks for stopping by, everyone, I guess. This is the end of the stream. I will continue to drink when you're gone, because I opened the peach thing, and now I guess I have to drink all of these. So wish me good luck with my continuing drinking. But anyway, until next time, thanks for stopping by, everyone. This has been almost 2 years of Dialogue Tree. Next year will be the 2-year anniversary of Dialogue Tree. I was totally right. I could keep a schedule if I was by myself. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.